The software says we are live. Fade in Chris. Fade in Charlie. Fade out music and Bamola.
Bamola.
So,
Not unlike, by the way, not unlike Shinola, which
oh, cool.
the greatest watches of all time.
Ball Watch Company.
That are made in China.
These?
And balls.
No,
Yeah.
this is made in Switzerland. Bub.
Bub.
So there.
That's the first time in my entire life I've been called Bub.
Okay.
You know, that's
Cool.
Wolverine's go-to insult.
What?
Bub.
You're asking?
No, well, never mind. Anyway, today is September 7th.
I'm Chris.
And I'm Charlie.
And we are.
Trying to 8-ball.
Okay.
Wait.
And you
Yep.
you said you had a good question.
I
Let's
do,
kick it
yeah.
off.
But and let me give you a little bit of a preamble first. So, I think that today we should have a fun show because that's it's Labor Day. It's a holiday. We should have fun. I don't know if you have
Hail-
anything planned out because look at that. He's cheering.
Hail to organized labor on Labor Day.
That I don't agree with that, but we should we should have a fun episode today. Because it's a holiday and life is good. I think I think that's what's right now especially sorely missed out on in life. So I'm going to ask this question to the
Hang
8
on.
ball, which is nothing
Real
to do with
quickly.
politics. What?
I have had quite the bizarre week. Quite the bizarre
Yes.
week. My phone rang at 2 a.m. yesterday to a work emergency, so
You have somebody break in?
no, we lost power to our entire world
Oh.
headquarters building. The wind kicked out a substation, and our computer data center is housed in that building, so it's a big deal because of the generator
Well, it's
needs to
quite
kick
windy.
on. You know, you don't want your system going down, so to
Agreed.
speak,
Yes, I don't have problems like that.
literally and metaphorically as well. When your system goes down, you're host.
Also metaphorically, especially metaphorically.
Right.
Correct.
Anyway, so today's been quiet. Knock on wood. So far so good.
Like that.
Yeah.
By the way, speaking of wood, I've just been completely nearly destroying this easily $10,000 desk.
Seriously? $10,000 desk?
I'm guessing. I don't know. It's very, very nice.
Why are you ruining it?
Coasters. Coasters mean well.
Oh, dude,
That's what I need to do.
you can't do that.
Yeah.
You can't
I
fuck
know.
up nice wood.
It's fucked up. And it's worst thing about it is that it turns white, and I don't know what to do.
Any kind of oil, like vegetable oil, butter,
Yeah.
those. Yeah. Yep.
This is not, by the way, for the folks at home, this desk, the reason I say $10,000, that's just a guess, by the way. It goes from here, see my hand? Okay, here, all the way back.
Oh, it's an entire
Sorry,
setup.
Malcolm X. All the way back to here. This is all desk in between you. And then there's also this matching credenza. It's unbelievable. And this is the room where, when I was a child, my dad would sit in this chair. By the way, I bought a new, nicer chair. I would sit over there, and he would say, "Charlie, why is your report card fucked up? You are an idiot." And I'd say, "Yes, I apologize."
Yes, Daddy. I'm
And
nothing.
Here we are. I try to think, and nothing happens.
There you go.
That was the life I lived, and now I'm sitting in a chair. So I'm a big boy. So oil. Okay, I'll oil it up. This is a
Oil
very
it
nice
up.
desk.
All right, 8 ball
That's
question.
just a good piece of advice in general.
Happy Labor Day and all that stuff.
I have my question for the 8-ball. So, 8-ball, which has never led us wrong, I want to point out. 8-ball. Are women crazy? That's actually my question. So, let's just go with that. A little bit of an extra shake. It said, "Don't shake me that hard." No, it said, "It is decidedly so."
Okay.
Just so you're aware, folks at home, I asked this magic prophet, I guess we call it, if women are crazy, and this 8-ball said, "It is decidedly so." So that means yes. That's an astounding yes.
I'll
That's why
say
I think
one
we should have
thing.
a fun show. Yeah.
It's relative from the male
Well,
perspective.
Yes.
Because I think if the female perspective were the baseline, we'd probably be crazy.
Are
So
we?
genders
'Cause
aren't
define crazy.
genders are not non-binary.
Okay.
How's
Fair
that?
enough. Chris is correct. Chris is correct. We are crazy because we don't care about certain things. I would say that the reason that I asked that question, by the way, is because women care about ridiculous things. That's all I'm going to say.
Wow, you're going down a road, man.
I know. That's why I want to have a fun episode. I think that you and I should have fun.
Okay.
And by the way, viewers at home, Chris and I are both wearing the exact same outfits that we saw each other in not 3 days ago. Not joking. We have not changed. So, women. I know you dig us. Man stench is a good thing. That's all I'm going to say.
My shirt doesn't stink.
What do you want to talk about today? What?
I perspire a rosy scent. What do I want to talk about?
I doubt that.
I don't know. Like you said, there's so much just bad vibe shit going on.
That's why I want to have a fun episode, because life is good. And people in general, I'm sorry, and I know I do this all the time, but life is so good because life is meaningless. I don't even know who this is. Is that Bastiat? No, is that... I don't even know who the guy is. But life is meaningless, right? It's nihilistic. Enjoy life because it means nothing. Camus. Albert Camus.
Or it means everything. Whatever the case.
Yes, in the same... Yeah.
Whatever the case, right? Yin and yang. It's kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
If it's nothing, make the best of it because it's nothing and it ends. And if it's everything, make the best of it because it's everything and it ends. There's all the reason, right? I mean, I've thought about doing kind of a semi-self-help. Like, if you don't know as much as you'd like, you can change that. If you look in the mirror and you're bigger than you like, you can change that. If you can't really change your height, but if you're, in terms of muscle, smaller than you like, you can change that. There are so many, we have control over so many things. You know what? Here's what I'm going to do. I actually took a note on this. I was proselytizing one of my rant mornings, and people were complaining about power and not having power, and I am going to bring up, why are you laughing? Power,
Because,
August 9th.
First of all, if you don't have power, you live in California. And get the fuck out of California. That state is a hellhole. Have you seen pictures of the fires? By the
Yeah.
way,
Yes.
you are
crazy.
living in hell on earth. I'm going to turn this down. This is very loud. How's that? That's a little bit better. Okay. If you live in California, get the fuck out. I'm
Okay.
done. That's it. That's all I have to say.
Hey, California.
Go
All
ahead.
right. So August 9th in the morning, in rant stage. I'm just going to read this was just a stream of thought.
Rant, Chris.
And somebody was like, power, and they were attributing it suggesting that whatever, it's groups. And here, power. Power is the ability to do something. In doing something, you ultimately change something. They're mutually exclusive. Even if it's changing a tire, you have the skill set to change a tire. You've taken a car from undrivable to drivable. You've changed your world. You need a skill set to do these tasks, which means to affect change, you have to have power. Even if it's power over only a small part of your life, then it can be much of your life. Then it can be your entire life. Then it can be your life and the lives of others, like starting a company. There's such a misunderstanding of power. It starts with the individual and commitment to one's self. So there you have it.
No, the misunderstanding of power starts with Charlie thinking that you meant electricity, which happened not 58 seconds ago. So I'm going to agree with that statement. You're right. Power is a very subjective thing. And I'll let Chris take it from here.
Well, no, I mean, changing a tire. You just took a vehicle and you made it go from undrivable to drivable. I mean, there's so many things you can take charge of, right? If your house is a shithole, identify the biggest thing you can fix and tackle it. Or start with the smallest thing if you're overwhelmed. Start with the smallest and then work up. If you don't like how fit you are, go for a walk, right? And then turn your walk into maybe a jog. Maybe pick up and lift a weight or do something like that. If you're carrying more weight than you'd like, well then eat less, right? There's so many things that make people unhappy. Even at work, if you don't like your job, and I'm in the middle of kind of this revelation right now, even if you don't like it, do well at it and look for something else to fulfill that part of you. But if you do well at it, you're at least going to feel good about the part of it you can control. Everything. There's so many people who partially legitimately will say, this has gotten in my way, that's gotten in my way, and I'm screwed because of these obstacles. But the question is, if you're attributing everything to that, to me it suggests that you've done everything else right. And those generally aren't the same. If you've done everything right, if you graduated first in your class, you get an academic scholarship and you went to college and you did well in college and then you get a job and you try real hard at your job, your life's going to be pretty good. It's all about stringing together good decisions. And there's correlations. There's correlations between people who, lots of bad decisions add up to ultimate bad outcomes. So if you don't like your world, change it. You can change it. Right? Just like the Jordan Peterson thing. Clean your room. Start there. What has he got, 12 steps to a better life or whatever his book is?
I actually have that book. It's a great book. You
Did
should
you read
it.
Have you you've read it?
Well, yeah, you have to. It's very male oriented. It's not for women, and I apologize. I don't know why I'm apologizing for that. He wrote it for men because men are in this country undergoing a certain
Emasculation?
I'll just say masculinity. Emasculation is a good word for it. It's somewhat incendiary, so I'll just agree with that for now. Men are undergoing a certain emasculation. That's a great book to read if you're a man and you want to be better. Like Chris said, keep your room clean. Don't even, for whatever reason, it doesn't even matter. If somebody died in your family, and you want to be stronger at the funeral, read that book. It is a great book. It'll make you. I don't want to say hate yourself, but it'll make you want to be better. It'll make you think about the things that you could have done differently in your life, and how to make those changes moving forward. It's a very powerful book because he's honest, and I think that if you're gonna read that, you gotta be in a certain place for it to have an effect. You gotta be honest with yourself, but it is a good book. It'll make you. It'll definitely make you understand certain things. Yeah, that's I'm endorsing that. But what were we talking about?
And you know the other thing? I learned this a long time ago. It's funny, I was talking to a friend on the phone, I don't know, a month or two ago. And she said, you should write a book. Yeah, she said, you're not that old and you've been to hell and back twice in your life.
You're not that old.
And
Well, yes, I agree with that second part.
relative to a couple of things I've experienced in my life, she says hell and back. I think that's flattering, but definitely seen some shit. And where I'm going with this is, what I learned a very long time ago, even before any real big challenges, is if you want to be happy, being happy is a commitment to having a happy life. It's not, I think at one point I brought up my Destiny Man theory. It's not about when I buy a big house, when I have a fancy sports car, when I get married, to a beautiful woman, those are all just stops along the way, and I hate being cliche, but it's the journey, man, and a commitment to being happy. And if you focus on the negative and are consumed by the negative, that's how your life's going to be. And some of that is thought control. Some of it is making better decisions. Some of it's chance. But if you keep trying, you're going to feel so much better about yourself, at the very least. You just keep trying.
I have to say something, and this is totally. Let me just say, I apologize in advance to Chris because this is, for me at least, because I have mild autism. It's hard for me to hear this stuff. When someone is talking about me like this, it's hard for me to hear it. But Chris is easily the toughest son of a bitch I've ever met in my entire life. And by saying son of a bitch, by the way, that's diminishing his resolve. I've never met another man alive who's gone through what he's gone through and has ended up still being able to be what I would call, personally for me, a father figure, someone who I consider to be a role model. He's my godfather, obviously, but the stuff that has happened in his life has turned him into the pinnacle ideal of happiness. And I seriously am shocked, but I like I said, Chris, I apologize in advance for saying this, but it needs to be said. You're just fucking amazing. And people need to understand that. If whatever else happens, you're so great, and I fucking love you for it, and I'm not apologizing for saying that. I do love you. I love you and am in love with you. But like you said, just keep trying. That's a really, really good message, and people should take that to heart. It's like I'm gonna cry. Jeez, I seriously mean that.
I appreciate
keep
that.
trying.
You
Life's
certainly
fucking
don't
good.
certainly don't need to apologize. I'll tell you.
I just apologize because
I'll say this. Nobody's ever spent an entire day with me. In terms of literally watching what it takes for me to get out of bed, get ready, do everything I have to do. And this isn't to brag. This is to frame what people can do. My life is a total fucking grind. I never get a day off. I don't have an easy day in terms of like relative human life in America. You know, granted that I got a good job and I have food and shelter and all that. But in terms of just getting up, having a fun, frolicky day, I haven't had a day off in 20 years. And you're right. If I can do it, I don't know. Maybe this isn't fair, but I was going to say if I can do it, anybody can do it. But if I can do it, a lot of people can do it. You just got to grind, man. You got to fucking grind. And if you feel sorry for yourself, and I got a couple of very good reasons to feel sorry for myself, it's a waste of energy. I think we did the wheelchair episode, right? The spinal cord injury episode. But I'll repeat this. You know, super physical guy. Played the piano, played the guitar. Really missed the guitar. You know, all the dexterity got taken from my hands. So, if you had said what was going to happen to me in terms of breaking my neck, before it ever happened, I would have said with 100% certainty. With 100% certainty. The minute I can get my hands on a gun, a bottle of lethal pills, the edge of a tall building, whatever, if this happens to me and all that shit gets taken away from me, I'm out. I'm out as quickly as I can. And so this happened on an afternoon. I woke up the next day in the hospital with fucking screws in my head and weights hanging off to stretch my spine out. And, you know, 20 hours later, I was like, okay, chapter 2, I will not be defeated. This will not define me. I will not have a shitty life. And, yeah, it's been 28 years. And I've had my moments, but it's been a good 28 years. Maybe I get 28 more. But you got to grind, man. If you feel sorry for yourself, put it back. Put it back. I mean, you need to deal with it, but you can start chipping away at it. And the little mess you walk by every day that you never touch, clean it up. It takes 5 minutes. Just make everything a little bit better every day. And I've been trying to do that because of this COVID thing, my house has gotten a little out of control. But a few weeks ago, I was like, just every day, make something better that has devolved around here. And I've done it. And, you know, that part feels good. I work out more frequently. You know, I lost some weight, a little too much weight, but you can do it. Why are you laughing?
I can give you my COVID-19, and then I'll be thin, and you'll be at the spot you want to be.
Perfect. Yeah, I want muscle. Perfect. I don't want to put fat on. I want to put muscle back on. I lost some muscle.
Well, I don't have any muscles, Chris, so fat is all you can have to take from me.
My baggy shirt. My baggy Maine shirt. This is my favorite shirt, by the way. I don't know if you knew that.
I love that. By the way, we showed up. Sorry, this is just part of me wanting to have a fun episode. And by the way, if you're listening to this and you think that was a sad thing that Chris just said, don't. First of all, fuck you.
Oh yeah, it was not meant to be sad. It was meant to be inspirational.
Yeah, it's not sad. It is very fucking inspirational. That's why I started banging my chest in the middle of that speech, because that's a fucking That gives me a hard on. That's like, oh, you. And by the way, I texted Chris and I were texting earlier today. Totally unrelated to this, but I did text him. I said Scottish at heart, and that story fucking resonates with that text. He it's just Scottish at heart. I will not be defeated. All right, that is a fucking. You should get that tattooed on his forehead, and I would still love him for having that.
My family crest.
I wouldn't.
Manu Forte with a strong hand.
With a strong hand. Yes, that. Well, that can mean certain things, but I'll let I'll let it mean. Mine is so stupid. It's in time. That's like the laziest Scottish thing of all time. It's like in time.
Mañana.
And Invece.
Mañana.
Mañana. Yeah, mañana. That it might as well just be mañana in Spanish too. Not in Gaelic. Like they might as well have written it in Spanish because they're like, we don't care. We'll just write it in language and then we'll find out tomorrow.
Yeah, that's
So
a weird
lazy.
one.
Fucking Houston's. Yeah,
I
it is
get-
a weird one. I don't like it.
I'm looking at my Scottish clan map. Did you ever look at that and see where the Houstons are?
Yeah,
So,
we're
folks, you
very
can't
close.
see. I've got a map of Scotland on my wall, and it's, like kind of old geography, but it has all the names. And at the very top, where the badass Highlanders are, is McKay. There's two families. I can't see the other one from here. But fucking McKay. And there you have it.
In other words, Chris's clan is the cheapest of all Scotlanders who have ever lived. So, for those of you who don't know, Scottish people are very, very cheap. It's genetic. I don't know how else to say it. Not unlike how I have genetic disease from my Italian mother, who will buy a $5,000 chair. My father will save $40 on a Groupon, and he'll spend 3 hours doing it. So, Chris is very cheap at heart, and where the story is going is that
For me,
it's actually not going anywhere. My
I
brain
think
just
I'm
gave
more
up.
value oriented. Because I don't have a problem spending money,
Well,
but I just
you
want
have
to
nice
spend
stuff. Chris spent, conservatively, what did you spend? 10 grand on getting the show set up?
it.
About?
I wouldn't
8
say
grand?
conservatively. I'd say that's probably 8-10 grand.
Pretty
Yeah.
accurate. Yeah, probably 10 grand. And by the way, this computer that Chris gave to me, I told him today that I was going to throw it in the garbage and buy a new one because it's trash. It's
What
it
is slow on
it
the
is
computer? I used it for
It-
work for 2 months.
the computer itself is slow. That's the problem.
To do what? I don't know what that means.
To do everything. To open a fucking browser. I am not apologizing for this.
Really?
This computer is so slow. This is equivalent to, what was it? Apollo. What was the last Apollo mission? Apollo 17?
That has a fast processor, 16 megs of RAM. It should be fast.
This computer, by the way, if you don't know this, the Apollo missions had physical. They had their computers. This thing, see that?
Oh, it has
iPhone?
like a million
Yes.
times more computing power than they had.
Unbelievably more. And this phone has more computing power than this computer.
Oh, come on now.
I almost destroyed it in a rage earlier. Just want you to know that.
Something's
So
bogging
I'm gonna
it
do you a
down.
favor.
Something's bogging it down.
No, you know what this is, and people, this is leading into my previous story about Chris being a cheap Scot from the Highlands. He doesn't see that it's slow because he's so cheap at heart. He can't
Right,
understand.
It's funny when you texted
That
me,
is
I was going
slow.
to say there's one thing that's great about the computer. It's paid for.
It's cheap.
It's paid for.
Yeah, I was going to take a fucking hatchet to it and turn it into.
No,
Turn it into little
don't
computer
do
bits.
that. The computer
I was-
in my
I was
bed,
gonna
the
destroy
computer in my bedroom is like 8 or 9 years old, and it's a tenth as fast as that thing, and I won't replace it.
No, no. This computer deserves to be demolished.
No,
in a
no.
horrible-
Give it back to me. If you
Horrible way. I will give it back to you, but I'm buying my own fucking computer. This computer
Okay.
has AIDS. This computer
Oh
has
my gosh.
computer AIDS.
Okay.
It needs to die. Okay, so we've established my hatred for the computer.
What's
What were we
a
talking
disease
about?
what's a disease that makes you slow?
Mental retardation. This computer has water on its brain. Let's put it that way.
Okay. Yikes. I feel
Yes.
bthink Sorry I fucked
This
with your
computer
world.
has water brain. No, it's
Well,
okay.
this
It's just
computer's
whenever I turn it
cool.
on, it's every week, and it's only been, I think it's only been 3 weeks now. That, or I don't even know, 4 weeks maybe a month that we've been using this computer.
Well, the other computer was a screamer. That was a true gaming computer.
That computer was a goddamn power lifter.
Yeah.
That computer had muscles bigger than my whole head. And this computer, like, I could push it over and it would die. Like, if I knocked it on the ground, we were talking to each other on the sidewalk, and I, like, bumped into it with my shoulder, it would fall down and break its hip.
I'm sorry I've let you down.
It's okay, and I don't blame you for that. I just need you to
Okay. Okay.
And this is,
Other happy stuff.
by the way, yeah, happy stuff. By the way, for those of you watching at home, this means nothing to you. This is what you need in life. You need to listen to shit like this because it makes you fucking happy. Because, first of all, politics and whatever, protesting, yada yada, that shit is always emotionally based, and it's never the happy stuff. I just want to point that out. So, while being happy is emotionally based, I'm not going to deny that. It's based on happy shit. If you're going to go protest, it's because you're angry or mad, or being there will make you angry or mad. And it's a group mentality. You cannot control it. I apologize in advance for those of you who disagree with me. But if you go to one of those things, you're going to get brainwashed just by being there. The simple fact of being in an event like that will change your mentality. Now,
You know, I
happy
think
shit
there's
like
an
this, stupid stuff.
part of what
Go ahead.
is very much a part of what you just described is I think a lot of those people don't have anything to do. They're without a purpose, and it's something to invest themselves in. And I've always said, if you want to be happy in life, you need a thing or a couple of things. It's all right. You need a thing. When you're completely devoid of obligation and you have time that you can have to yourself, you need a thing. If you're like, you should never be bored. There should be things that you have to do. And like one of the things I got more into, and it's just maybe an hour a week, but so I have nice cameras, but I'm not inclined to take them out. I bought this phone that at the time had the nicest rated camera to do more photography. And
You need one of these.
I don't know what you're pointing at.
I'm pointing at my brand new paid in cash iPhone 11 Pro.
Yeah, well, when I bought this phone 2 years ago, it was the
Nice-
best one,
nice
and it takes good pictures. Good enough.
It does. I've seen the pictures. It does take nice photos.
And it's paid for.
Chris, you'll come in your pants when you see how.
Oh,
nice
don't
this-
say that.
This phone is at taking pictures. No,
Really?
I'm not joking. I mean that. You'll be like, those pictures are so good.
Don't do that. Come on now. There's a family show. Not really. Fuck that.
No, yeah, thank you. Fuck that. This is a happy show. And if you're a child, you shouldn't be watching this. And by the way, if you're a child, you wouldn't understand 96% of what we're talking about. Anyway.
I don't
because
know.
Life is meaningless to you at that point.
Depends how old the
No,
child
if
is.
you're a child,
But yeah,
you don't even
if-
have the concept. You don't even. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying, looking at everything that's in front of me, the cameras, this hardware to the side, this is a thing. I love doing this show. I love the hardware and technical part of it too. I like setting it up every day.
I haven't driven.
It
you
only
insane
takes a
yet.
couple minutes, but yeah, this is fun. So this is one of my things. And given more time, work is crazy right now. Given more time, I'd love to be like uber prepared for these shows. All in due
That's
time.
why I like the fun shows. Yeah.
But you need a thing. Do a podcast. Take pictures.
You do need a thing.
But yeah, take pictures.
and-
If you have one of these, take pictures and print them and stick them in frames. I made Photo Club that I was going to include some people in before a lot of things changed. And Photo Club was going to be me and another photographer in this house. And we were going to have a bunch of pictures up on the wall on this kind of neat display thing that I put together that actually never made it to the wall, where there'd be like 10 or 20 or 40 pictures, whatever. And every week, each of us would submit a picture, and it would change. And it was Photo Club, and it would have been fun, for the two of us. And it's a thing. So literally, you take some pictures, you print them, and I did it on my own. I just several months ago, I bought 15 picture frames, and I filled them all. And now I'm rotating through. So I'm doing my own little Photo Club. So again, that's an hour a week, something like that, but it's fun. The podcast, remains to be seen, but maybe get back into racing cars, which not everybody can do, but it's a thing, I'm a little
And
bit
Chris,
of
and by the way, this is a callback. Speaking of racing cars, Chris, not to mention all the shit that he went through, he's still one of the fucking best car racers of all time in Michigan. Caveat.
autocross.
He's still he's autocross. It's not fucking speed racing. It's not drag racing. That is the easiest shit. I could drag race if you give me a car.
Oh yeah.
Chris is
yeah,
fucking phenomenal at autocross.
Yeah, in terms
I've been
of
in the car
tossing
with
a
him.
car around. Yeah, it's very short, but for its period, it's more intense than IndyCar, Formula
like
One.
sex.
It's the bump skiing of race car driving.
And
Lots
he's
of
fucking
action.
good at it. And I don't even. You're getting me jacked up because I love you so much today, and I'm sorry
it's
to
funny.
say that. We're not even family. We're not related.
The
I love and am in love with Chris. I'm gonna keep saying that.
There- there were a couple of years in autocross. The last 2 years, I was really serious about it. Before I had to take a
Yeah.
break to tend to some other serious shit in life.
Yeah.
I was running well. There weren't many people finishing in front of me. Like,
Yeah.
not many at all. And it was like, people would come up, they're like, I hate you. I hate you. All in good spirit, but kind of meaning it. Like, you
Yeah,
fucking,
like, I fucking
you,
hate you
you
for
brake
being
and
better than me.
accelerate with one hand, and you steer with a single hand, and you're crushing me, and I hate you. And I've been doing this for 30 years, and you've been doing it for 7. I hate you.
That is what I want. And I'm not saying that that's why I love you. Let's just pretend that nothing ever happened. You never broke your neck. I'm pretty sure I'm still love you. But this is just proof of your fucking Scottish resolve and who you are as a man. That people come up to Chris after a race and say, I fucking hate you because you do what I do better after having a disadvantage, which, first of all, I'm not convinced of disadvantage. So you have everyone else convinced of this. I think that you're up to something. I'm just kidding.
Well,
But-
there was a movie with Justin Bateman where he's in a wheelchair and he's like trying to steal this guy's girlfriend, and somehow he's the antagonist, he's the guy in the wheelchair. The protagonist is this guy who's got a girlfriend, and he's kind of hitting on her, and he's like, this guy believes that Justin Bateman doesn't really need a wheelchair. Like, he can walk, he can get around. And have you seen this movie? So it
No,
goes
wait,
through this whole kind of
Justin
folly of this stuff, and towards the end, you kind of learn that the suspicion's probably true. And the way the movie ends is they're in it. They're in like a cafe, and he's like leaving the country to go do something like super duper that pays super well. And he's like, by the way, I'm not in a wheelchair. So he wheels out of the restaurant. He stands in the street. He gets out of the wheelchair and he holds it above his head, and then a bus runs him over.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
It's beautiful, and that's just like the end of the movie. So he's this evil guy who's had this just like duplicitous evil plan, and it just ends poetically. He was like this,
By
and
the
the bus
way-
just fucking vaporizes him.
When movies end like that, that means that the writers were good writers. Because the movie in itself, the movie is going to be the movie, whatever. But when you have an ending like that, it means that, I shouldn't say good writers, I mean good people. Because that's fucking hilarious. That
It
is
was
so funny.
hilarious. And it was poetic.
Yeah, that is so funny. Yeah, and
Yeah.
poetic, right. It means that they're good guys, and you should probably go to Europe with those people. But
Sure. That's funny.
that is funny. I don't know. My
So,
point is
backing up a little-
good-hearted stuff.
Backing
Go
up a little, the I hate you guys, I will say this. I'm very, very lucky. I'm very, very lucky because I think a lot of anything you do, including being good athletes, your body is powered by your brain. So if you're an awesome receiver, I think you have a brain and a body that makes you an awesome receiver. But you can't just run fast. You know, they've tried to. There was a guy, Ben Johnson. He was Canadian 100-meter sprinter, really big for a sprinter, really muscular. And either the NFL or the CFL tried to get him to be a receiver, and he just didn't have the talent to catch a ball and position himself against a defender to catch a ball. And that shit's your brain. So you got to run fast, and you got to have hands that are capable, but you have to have the brain that says, here comes the ball, here's this defender, how do I deal with him and be in a position to catch that ball and do it? And that's a brain thing. And driving the car is a brain thing, right?
Yeah.
That it's so some of us luck out and get the brain that helps you do that. You know, and that's nothing I can take credit for. Now, if you fail to
well.
do anything with that, right? If you've got some skills and some talents and you fail to do anything with it, that's on you.
I do want to point out that very, very rarely that is the case. If you have a brain, you're going to be doing something with it. I just think that people who are smart, and this is going to be very snobbish after a very happy episode, people who are smart are I think you're like addicted to life. Like, I don't know, like, again, you just, it doesn't even matter if you're happy about it or whatever. If it might just like interest you a little bit, you're like, software engineering. Let me see if I can be better at that. You'll find those people everywhere. Very rarely is it the case that someone who is a genius does nothing with that genius. I don't think that happens. But you're right.
Well,
Chris is right. Sorry.
yeah, but take a football player. I don't know. You know, a lot of people who make it to the NFL didn't really key on scholastics. They got by enough to get
That's
through high school,
physical
college.
genius. I'm not going to deny them that.
Yeah. So I don't know. Right. But their brain is telling their body to do these things. I don't know if they're all around smart. I don't know.
I'm honestly at the point where I think all that shit is the same. I mean, you and I know if you watch some of our previous episodes that Chris and I have been very intellectually snobby because we are, if you listen to the show, you will understand that we're deservedly coming from a good perspective there. But I think that is a fucking, that's because I can't do that shit. That's not who I am. I can hypothesize and discuss philosophy, whatever. I can do all that shit, no problem. It won't even bother me. I'll probably enjoy doing it. But if you want me to I don't even fucking understand football terminology. That's how stupid I am in that regard.
Yeah, but that's because
I don't
you
even
haven't
know.
spent time.
Yeah, that's true. Experience.
right? There's some rule. I don't totally agree with the rule, but somebody was saying on a Rogan show, but I've heard it elsewhere before and after, that it takes 10,000 hours of doing something to be a quote unquote expert.
Oh, I can become an expert. Yeah.
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 10,000 is a lot. That's 2,000. That's full time for 5 years doing nothing else. That I don't agree with that, right? Because I was an
Yeah,
expert
that's
skier
fucking.
and I skied, 40 days a year. And I would say it took maybe 10 years that I'd call myself an expert. But you start as a kid and you
Yeah,
kind of
well,
develop into
do-
it.
Yeah.
But that's not 10,000 hours, right? So call it
That's
20 times
halftime.
a
You were doing
year.
half season.
Yeah, call it 20 times a year when I was younger. Times what? Call it 8 hours, which is generous because a lot of it's you're on the chairlift and whatever. Right? So 160 hours, so that's 1,600 hours. See, I think it's more like 2,000 hours of actually doing something.
I think this is a totally different conversation. I think that you were good. You shouldn't even say were. I think that you are good. And I'm not even gonna fucking because I'm super narcissistic. People at home, you should understand this about me. I'm fucking good too. I'm a great skier. I am a fucking phenomenal skier. Chris is leagues above where I was at skiing. I got to a point where I was skiing and I was like my body was stopping me from being better. I was skiing and I was like out of shape and I'm like, I'm fat and I can't ski as good as I usually do because like my talent had grown beyond my physical state. Chris never even had that problem. He was fucking phenomenal. There's videos that you can watch where he's hitting moguls and he goes and he does a backflip in the middle of moguls and then boom, boom, moguls again. A backflip, a fucking backflip, folks. And I still consider myself a great skier. You're definitely right about time, but there's a physical genius involved that relates to that kind of a thing that I just don't have that.
Well, but
I
you
think
said your
that's-
body got in your way. I trained when ski season was over and during ski season. I trained to be in shape for skiing in the off months. I did all
Yeah,
kinds of exercise
do that.
so that when ski season
I only
started,
started training in the fall, ever.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I
I'm-
always wanted to
I'm
be
lazy.
and still want to be in shape to be ready for whatever physical thing I might decide to take on.
Chris
Yeah.
sometimes forgets that I'm half Italian and not fully Scottish. Which is
And
sad.
well,
That's
I'm
why
only
I
half
own
Scottish.
This pen. Oh, are
Okay.
you really? What's your other
Yeah.
half?
So my grandma and grandpa on my dad's side came here from Scotland. So I'm second generation Scottish, but 100% Scottish. My dad was, first generation offspring. Then on my grandma's side, her mom, their family came here either during or after World War I from Poland. So I'm
Yeah.
a quarter Polish.
Oh.
And then on the
Your stupid
other
side.
side, it's like Irish and Scandinavian.
So Scotch, Irish, Polish is what I would call you.
Sure. But I mean, yeah, so I'm what? I'm 63% British.
Yeah. Right, British is what you'd say, but British is fucking stupid. And also people who are British don't consider Scottish and Irish like their own separate thing. So well, I don't know if that's true. I'm just gonna rescind that. But my point is that's why I own this pen. This is a $600 pen. And it could disappear and I wouldn't care. But the reason that Chris trained all year, the reason that I'm a shitty skier in his eyes, I don't have that kind of mentality, that brain, and I'm at the point where I'm saying, hey, those guys that's something else. That's a very, very special thing. And I'm not saying that I'm gonna watch football now, but guys like Matt Stafford, like I could never fucking do that, and that deserves 100%. That deserves recognition. It's just a different kind of intelligence, and I know that that's a cliche thing and yada yada, but
I don't think it's
I don't have
cliche. I don't think it's cliche.
I think it is a cliche thing to say. There's different kinds of intelligence. People say that all the time. I fucking hate those people, and I'm that guy now today. So.
Yeah, but you're not saying it in a cliche way. You're saying it in a facts and data kind of way,
Yeah. Well, I'm trying to.
right? So here, I'll give you this. Playing pickup football after high school, I think it was Thanksgiving, like the Friday after Thanksgiving, a bunch of guys from the football team would get together at the high school and have a full contact tackling game.
I fucking love that.
Oh yeah, and
I
the
love
next
that.
day everybody was just like so beat up and bruised and whatever. Because part of it is we were getting older, and part of it is if you're not being used to tackled, it's gonna hurt the next day because your body does get used to that stuff. But anyway, the point is, I was a lineman and a linebacker in high school football, but I was pretty good at catching a football. In college, IM football, I was a receiver. And anyway, what the hell's my point? Oh, so I played whatever positions, and I wanted to play quarterback on one play. I'm like, all right, let me play quarterback, okay? So the ball gets snapped to me, and I'm looking downfield, and like quarterbacks, part of being a talented quarterback is being able to see what's going on, see unfold, see where a guy's going to be and where you got to put the ball. Every time, without fail, that I'd play quarterback, all I saw were a bunch of bodies. I just saw a bunch of bodies, and I would throw the ball to
You're like
somebody I thought, and almost every time,
go.
right? No, I could throw the ball.
Like, oh.
I just couldn't see what was happening to get it to the right guy at the right time, and I always threw interceptions.
good.
And they're like, that's it. You're not playing quarterback again. So
I was good.
So,
receiver.
like-
that was I totally get
yeah,
that,
but like
yeah.
where you say there's football intelligence, Ricky, I'm gonna get the cops called on me because my
Fucking
dogs are
dog.
barking.
I'm gonna.
Yeah, no. I just saw in front of me, bedlam, confusion.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Usually.
So didn't have
and,
that.
And if you're not understanding this at home, there's the guy who's the quarterback who's naturally born to be that guy. His brain highlights the guys that he needs to be throwing the ball to, and it also highlights the guys who are blocking those guys, which is that's natural intelligence. No matter how you say it. So even though if you go back a few months, I think it might have even been October of last year. So almost a year ago, I had that episode where I was like, just fuck football. Football's stupid. Football sucks. dick,"
Right.
Whatever the case is. I still feel that way, but I do respect the guys who play it. I don't respect the guys who are in love with football so much for their respective football. I'm not going to say that they don't potentially have other redeeming qualities, but that's a fucking skill, and that's something to be cherished and loved. And because I'm of the mindset of conservatism, I think in general, hierarchy is king, and also it's the job of thinking men to be on the side of thinking men. You should always be looking to put these people together and celebrating these people because that's a rare thing. And that's kind of what I just wanted from this episode today is just love, good stuff, be fucking happy, and don't give up. Like Chris said earlier, try harder. Keep trying. Chris is in a fucking wheelchair. And he's better than 95% of the people I've ever met in my fucking life. Try harder, be better. Life is good, man. And I know it's so sappy for me to say it, and I'm going to start crying, but seriously, life's good. Just find your thing. Find something.
Or
And if you
a
need
thing.
help,
Find a thing.
Yeah.
Anything.
And if you need help with that, give us a call. I think you can post on these in YouTube.
And one of them,
I don't
to
know,
me,
chat feature.
to me, something that everybody should do because it makes you healthier, but I think it makes you physically healthier. And I think it makes you a lot mentally healthier. And I think it gives you peace of mind. One of the things for me is get some exercise more days than you don't. At least 4
In the
days a
morning,
week.
too.
Just get some exercise. And even if it's taking a walk.
Yeah.
But I mean, try to take the walk to where maybe it's a jog or you carry some weights and you do some, but challenge your body. Get some blood flowing because it's
Start your
really
day
good for
like
you.
that.
Well, I don't like
As
doing it
somebody
in the
who is
morning. I do it in
fat
the
as shit.
afternoon, but
Oh.
but-
Chris is weird.
you'll see health benefits. And you'll see mental
The only
benefits.
reason that I like to do it in the morning, yeah, mental, physical benefits. The only reason that I like doing it in the morning is because you wake up, you start your day, you feel like you did something, and you can be. It kind of makes you happy. And I'm somebody who, I'm a fucking bipolar roller coaster. Like my emotional state will go like this. It's nice to start your day like that. You can feel good about yourself the rest of the day, and it's kind of stabilizing. You're like, boom, I did my shit. I went.
Yeah,
for a
you got
swim. I have a
something
pool
done.
in my house. I'm privileged as fuck, so I can swim in the morning. But if I take a swim in the morning, then it's like life's good. Like I did something today, and I did 20 laps, whatever the case is. Sometimes I feel good, but Chris is right that you should just find your thing and do it like that. That's what's important.
And if it doesn't work out, find another thing.
Masturbate with.
And
your
it could
other
be
hand.
anything. It could be reading books. Just sit down and read a book. It doesn't require a lot of effort. Get smarter. Get enlightened.
Those are all books that I have yet to read.
You know,
I'm
it's
going to
funny.
read
I
all of
was
them.
watching somebody in one of these kind of IDW podcasts. And they said, what is it? I can't see.
The Cave in the Light.
Okay.
It's about Socrates and Aristotle.
Really?
Arthur Herman. By the way, Arthur Herman, fucking great author. You need to read his stuff.
I've heard that name
Talking, of
before.
course, not to normal people. Yeah, Arthur Herman. Arthur L. Herman? Arthur P.
I have a hard time sitting still
Uh,
long enough to read. Did I tell you what happens to me when I read?
You fall asleep? Because you're
No,
reading.
no, no.
And you never
So-
gave me my book back.
What book?
The Michael Malice one. It's okay. I'll just buy a new one. Because I'm
Really?
rich and loaded. Yeah,
The book he wrote about Korea?
it's okay. No, I have that
The
one.
New
I
Right?
don't have the new one. The New Right, yeah.
Oh. I'll have to find it. I didn't even know it was here.
No,
But
keep it.
hang on.
My gift to you.
So
I'll buy a new one.
I started reading The Fountainhead. I cannot read Ayn Rand. She uses way too many words.
Yes.
I can't do it. I was
She's-
just telling
it's-
somebody this. She was describing, so you got the guy who's going to be an architect and he's finishing up school, and I forget if he graduated or flunked out or got kicked out or whatever, but she's describing
Right.
the campus of this college, and then she's describing the buildings, and she likened it to a castle, and then on the castle were the archers. She's like, I could just picture the archers. Then she's describing the archer with his arm pulled back, and he's holding the arrow, and his arm is getting fatigued, and it begins to quiver, and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh my God, really? Really, really, really? What's this book about? Is it about an archer? Because you just wasted a half a page of my life describing something that I'd already pictured. If you just said, it's
And
like a
I'll
castle.
Never get that back.
Yeah. If you just said, it's like a castle. It was beautiful. Like a castle. My mind is going to paint a picture. I don't need you to describe the imaginary guy, his arm quivering in fatigue. And I'm like, I can't read this, lady. I can't read this. This is painful.
And there's I love that you said that. Because I'm pretty sure when I warned you about reading her that was going to happen. And then there's an interview that she did with Donahue where
I
by the
watched
way,
that.
phenomenal. If it's good, right? It's very good.
Oh yeah,
It's
yeah.
like you can understand. Yeah. And it's there's another one she does about the ideal man. I think that's a different interviewer.
Maybe Johnny Carson. She was on Johnny Carson a couple times.
Potentially, yeah. She might have done a Johnny Carson interview about the ideal man. And that one is, if by the way, speaking of callback to Jordan Peterson's 12 Steps of Life, 12 Rules of Life, that's good too. If you want to be a good person, she talks about like romantic love and being like a good person at heart. Listen to that. Anyway, YouTube is great. I'm not gonna Google stuff for you. She talks about in that interview with Donahue. She goes, "Well, it took me 700,000 words to describe my ideal man in Atlas or in the Fountainhead or whatever." And it's like, don't be proud of that. You used too many words. It's not good. Did you read Anthem? Fuck Anthem.
No,
Anthem
I
fucking
can't.
sucks. It is so unbelievably wordy that you will hate the message.
What's funny,
It could have been,
I watched that.
Been a 6-page story.
Ideal man, objectivism, responsibility, taking control, telling the truth, all these things. And why don't you just talk about that? To be a good man, you need to stand up for yourself. You need to tell the truth. And telling the truth isn't just, and this is Jordan Peterson too, but telling the truth isn't just not having lies come out of your mouth. It's saying what needs to be said. Anyway, just really good stuff that you don't need to, write a fiction novel to describe this man. I don't know. It's interesting. Did you watch the Ted Cruz, Eric Weinstein podcast?
No, I did not. I've never.
That one's really good. I
Okay.
hate's a strong word, but I kind of hated Ted Cruz. He was so douchey in the presidential campaign, and they showed outtakes of him with his daughter, and he was so disingenuous. And I was like,
He was
I
trying to
can't.
kiss her and she moves away.
What are you saying?
He goes. He grabs his daughter and he tries to kiss her on the cheek, right? Like.
Oh
this.
yeah, right. Trying to get the right.
She goes like this. Like comes away from him.
You're talking like the outtakes
just
that made the internet.
Yes. Yeah.
when
They
he-
didn't
yeah.
show that, but he just like tried to kiss her and she was like, "Get the fuck away from me! I hate this." Yeah.
Yeah, I saw those. I'm like, this guy's such a fucking phony. But he did this interview. You should watch it. So it's him and this guy who's, I don't know, like his right-hand man, and they're really fucking smart. Ted Cruz is really smart. Really smart. I think he's
for sure.
Harvard Law.
Brilliant guy.
And Weinstein
definitely.
is-
debate expert.
Yeah, Eric Weinstein is fucking brilliant. Crazy smart.
Yeah.
Crazy intellectually smart, but crazy creative smart. Anyway, so these two, are literally oil and water. And it was one of the most interesting podcasts I've ever seen. And I left there thinking like, Ted Cruz, not a bad guy and a smart guy. But the thing that made me think of this was they were making a point and they're like, he's Iago. And I'm like, really?
Iago.
Iago from Shakespeare, I forget which one. And they're
I
like,
know
yeah, he's
Igor.
Iago. So, all these scholars refer to stories. Jordan Peterson does that a lot too, like Pinocchio,
It's
and
academia. Yeah.
it is. It's academia, and these guys go back to stories. You don't need the story to make the point.
The lesson.
But I'm like,
Yeah.
Iago,
just need to- right.
Shakespeare was not my thing. I bought the Cliff's Notes for every single book. I just didn't. It was like the wordy thing.
Oh yeah, I fucking hate Shakespeare too. I get it. It's
Well, there was a lot of social commentary, and it was very brilliant. What was it, like 16th or 17th century? So,
oh yeah. It was
good
very-
writer
yeah.
and lots of messages in there. But, if you want to say something like the Ayn Rand thing, if this is what it takes to be the ideal man, and she makes 10 or 20 or 50 points, You know, I'd rather see a PowerPoint with 50 bullets than describing a
Prezzo.
building,
Yeah, Prezi.
describing the building that he walks by every day. You know, I don't know.
Picture's worth 1,000 words. I think she took that too literally, and she tried to use 1,000 words every time she tried to.
All right, I'm gonna
describe
give
something.
another book a try. I forget one. You gave me another recommendation on a book, and you're like, don't pick that one. You described it, and
I
I
gave you
thought I was
several.
gonna like it, and you said you're not gonna like it, especially if it's the first book you've read in 20 years. I haven't read a book
Ayn
in
Rand?
20 years. No, it was somebody
Chris
else. It was
is.
some French or Italian philosopher, and I was like, oh yeah, that
Oh,
sounds good. And you're like,
Bastiat.
I don't say that again.
Frederic Bastiat.
Yeah, that rings a bell.
That's
Eh,
not a book. It's journals. Those are academic journals. Um, yeah, you wouldn't like it. You still wouldn't like it. He's not an author. He's an economist. But the anyway, what were you saying? You said you're gonna give him another try.
No, I would give reading a book another try, but I don't know,
Okay, I'll
man.
pick a book for you. This one is. I seriously love this book, and I bought it for $7. Look, it's used. You can kind of tell. It's like a
Yeah.
little bit damaged. Great
'Kay.
fucking book. You would love it, and it's all about philosophy. It's nothing like too heady, nothing like descriptive, whatever. It's all about just 2 points of thought. Bam, expand out from there. That's it. It is so perfectly beautiful, and I love this book so much. I fucking fell in love with it by page 10. So
Are you done with it?
I'll let you have this one, and folks at home. No, not yet. I'm going to be though soon. I'm trying to it's kind of like a delicacy, so I'm like only having it like a little bit.
That's
like
funny.
every now and then, like dark chocolate. So I'm
That's funny.
I'm like trying to hold it. I don't want to be done with it, so but I'll finish it soon, and I'll let you have it. It's a good book, very very good.
So how long does it take you to finish a book?
It depends on how long it is, obviously, but
I mean,
I could
ballpark.
read, 1,000 pages in 3 days if I needed to.
How many hours?
9 hours.
3 hours a day. I can't do that. I can't sit down for
Yeah,
3
it's a lot.
hours. I
And
can't
I'd
sit
read
still
at
for
night.
3 hours.
You know, I read at night.
At
when
night,
I'm
man.
trying to
Yeah,
go to bed.
I struggle to stay awake.
I have serious sleep issues, so I like reading is very very helpful for that. I have this whole thing where like it's like a fucking it looks like this.
Okay.
It's like a light, and I set it down, and it shines the light on the ceiling. And I have the light go on for 15 minutes at a time while I read, and it's like a soothing thing. It helps me fall asleep. Very useful. Anybody who has sleep issues out there, which I think the way I understand it is a lot of Americans, stuff's great. Reading will fucking knock you out because it's boring sometimes, but that book's very good.
Yeah, getting your mind out. The times I can't sleep, my mind is just racing, and not always on bad stuff.
Yeah.
I just can't shut down.
No, it's and it can be good. You could be on like you said, it's not always bad stuff. It could be good things, but you need to sleep. You just gotta get that brain to go into those delta waves or whatever the fuck they are. I'm a scientist.
You're a scientist. So read a book, take a walk, take a picture, print it and frame it. What are other easy things?
Be nice to other people. I think that's a good. Fuck, that's a really, really good one. Try to be a cause of joy in other people's lives. I think that part of what makes me so happy in my work, and my job is essentially sales. So I talk to people all day. It could be 20 people. It could be, 35. But part of what makes me happy is making them happy. That's what I really want to do. And I don't want it to be like this suit and tie shit. That's not fun, even though my industry is very, very akin to that. It should be a casual communication. And I think that you'll find that at least for me, I don't know. I really, really like making other people happy and laugh. It's like a good thing, and it's like Chris said, take a walk, whatever the case is. That's one of those things. Just be happy, be nice, make other people try to make someone else smile in your day. That'll make you happy. Yeah,
That's a good one.
yeah.
Or smile at people. They'll usually smile back.
That is so easy. It's such an easy way to make other people's day is to be smiling. Yeah,
Smile at a stranger. Just look him in the eye and smile.
yeah. And Chris is an asshole, and he's telling you to do that. So, what do you think?
That's right. I'm a smarmy son of a
Yeah.
bitch.
Chris is the worst. Yeah.
I'm the worst.
And be funny. I'm sorry, like I said, the smiling thing, but be funny. Try to make. Don't be a fucking. Who wants to grow up? If you're a child and you wanna, let me just backtrack here. Your kid. Who wants to grow up to be the parent who's always yelling at you, telling you not to do something as a kid? Don't run in the hallway. Whatever the case is, I don't know, but be freaking kind of just try to be laid back. I find extreme happiness in just being who I am, part of which is letting things like that slide oftentimes. And just having casual conversations. If something needs to be said at all, don't be an asshole about it. You're going to ruin somebody's day. Approach conflict with calm, and I think you'll be happy.
And listen.
And yes, and yeah, and that's something that I need to take to heart too, because listening is one of the you do need to listen, otherwise you're a fucking selfish person who doesn't care about people. So listen. Chris is right. Listen.
But you never solve a
work on that.
problem if you don't listen to somebody else. Right?
Yeah.
If there's this side
Right.
and there's that side, and you're on one of them, and you guys need to figure out how to work together, and you don't listen, you never get there.
Yeah, 100%. That's what's pure mediation is a solid thing, but not when you're in your middle age, not when you're an adult. So you got to do that shit on your own. Listen. Listening is good, and you'll often find. I think that people who do listen will often see that the other people don't. They'll be like, "Wow, I'm trying to come at this at a calm, collective manner, and not getting that in return."
And there's no reciprocity. Yes.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
We're
wonderful.
over an
So to say
hour.
that. And
Did you know that?
much. And getting an endoscopy if you have hiccup issues.
There you
Yeah.
go.
Life is good.
Should we wrap?
Buy a ridiculously expensive pen. We should wrap.
Treat yourself. I think your message is treat yourself. Be good
Yeah,
to
this-
yourself.
by the way, folks at home, I think I don't know. Have we talked about this before? This stupid pen.
Yes, because I talked about when I had a Monplug pen, and then I rolled over it in the wheelchair. Then I bought another one. 2
Yeah,
weeks later, I
twice.
rolled over it again. I'm
Yeah.
like, ah.
When I'm describing you as a person to people, I typically use that story. I usually like to use that story about you. Yeah, but this is a Mont Blanc pen. It was $600.
I'm not sure why you keep saying that.
Just to kind of keep the point of like it's a waste of money. I don't know.
Oh,
I think stuff like that every now and then is good.
well,
Whatever.
treat
Makes me
yourself.
happy. Yeah, treat
Treat
yourself.
yourself to something.
Treat yourself. Yeah.
Yeah, and if you don't understand being good to yourself, you need to work on that because it's real. Be good to yourself. Give yourself a
Very
break,
much so. Yeah.
but also push yourself. You'll feel good about it.
Yeah. We should wrap, but the thing that everybody should take away from this show is that life is good. I'm sorry, I shouldn't even say that. Life is what you make it, and it is very, very easy to make it good, because you're the person who's driving your boat. You're in charge. You're the captain of the ship. I seriously think that the world would be a better place if everybody could kind of understand that a little bit more.
Yeah, other people
So
can't
cliche,
make
but you're-
you happy. They can
and you
contribute
can't
to it,
blame them.
but
Yeah.
they can't do it. You got to build your own foundation. And then externalities can add and detract.
Economist Chris McKay. Externalities will contribute to your happiness or lack thereof. Be happy. I like to say lay the bricks. Lay bricks every day. Just like Chris said, you got to build a foundation. You'll be happy. And I think this is a good episode about that. And it's not a cheesy, sappy thing. I know that Chris and I both sound like saps right now. But seriously, it's important. And get back to that. Life's good. And I fucking love people. Just be happy and take it easy. So listen to the song Slow Ride by Foghat. And be happy. There you go. I'm done.
There you go. All right. I think that's it. Cue music.
Yeah.
Happy Labor Day, people.
Happy Labor Day, people.
Hope you're having noodle salad and barbecued something.
Nobody here. Nobody in this.
Say goodbye, Charlie.
Goodbye, folks.
Charlie out. Chris out. And over.